later after our in-camera session. But I think that's all that we have left, unless I couldn't find anything else on my agenda that's left. Hopefully, correct? So we need a motion to move in camera, please. Clarence moves. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried.
Thank you. So Joe's here to learn how to ask for more money, beg and plead. I don't think anybody's ever seen me on my knees up there, asking for money all the time, but I thought it's time Joe learned. No, but Joe did most of the work on the RFD or in that project, so I thought if you had any tough questions, surely he would know what the answers are. Yeah. Do you guys want a quick update on what we did in the last 2 weeks? Oh, good. All right. Well, I am excited to tell you that our chemical tender is nearing ready to go out. So we kind of went through and made sure we had all the right amount of acres that we wanted to spray with each different chemical, and so that's where we're at. We have everybody's hired, so that's exciting. Even our Emerson lady is coming back, so that's good for us. I think we had a quick meeting yesterday about some of the projects that we have in the Emerson budget this year. They're not big money-wise, but just a little bit of work, and we want to get that all done in the next month or so. So hopefully, if you guys could just keep crossing your fingers for me that we hit, plus 20 by April 1, that would be perfect. Oh, whatever. I'm not choosy. And yeah, so I think we're excited. We're starting to get lots of phone calls for Emerson, so that's good. We have a big archaeologist group that we're trying to work with to figure out how to get their big tent set up, and we have some people calling about monthly rentals, so that's also positive for us. I have a call into PMRA to kind of get some feeler out for what's going on with strychnine. They haven't got back to me. I just did that today, so it's not like it's been a long time or anything, but he hasn't got back to me yet. I just want to see, what the feeling is with PMRA when guys come in and they want to purchase strychnine to control some gophers. What's our message? We know that we don't want guys to buy too much, but we want to assure them that there might be, that there will be some next year and going forward, so we don't have to stock up. Outside of that, we think we have most of our contract jobs lined up, or at least the meetings to determine what's going on. Some of the bigger ones, like the city and grasslands. So we're excited about that. EFPs, we continue to hammer them out. Catherine did another couple big ones last week. She feels, I think, that she does mostly EFPs right now, which is good for us, I think, and for her. And we've met a lot of people that we wouldn't normally meet, probably. So that's been good. I think we're nearing where our special use approval for spraying pesticides comes due in 2020. So we've been working on with the province on the different pesticides we use. We need a special use approval to spray near water. So the Environmental Code of Practice allows applicators to spray so much of an area close to water, and our special use approval allows us to maintain our weeds a little bit closer with our discretion. So it's been 10 years since we had to do it, so there's just some changes in our chemical practices. So that's been good. The young lady, actually, I'm not sure if you guys would remember, we did a CPR rail line inspection last year, 2 years ago, and the young lady that was working with Nicole Kimmel at the time, Tanya Rushkel, has now taken on the job to do this the environmental side. So it was a really easy conversation for us, and it's nice to have somebody with your back there, so that was good. We've spent, I wouldn't say a bunch of time, but just some time working with some of the different solar projects. The guys that are, and ladies, I guess, that are working towards The approvals are looking for weed control plan reviews, soil remediation plan reviews. So just kind of working with them on that, sending them grass seeds and whatever. And that's fun. And then Joe and I have been kind of dealing with some property maintenance and cleanup stuff because that's what we love to spend our March and February's doing. So. I forgot to mention that Joe and I would like a raise. I object. Where's the gavel? Shut that down. All right. So I guess if no questions, we kind of went through this RFD a while back, or at least through the budget process, outlining kind of why we thought we would put an emergency power upgrade into the utility room. When we lost power for almost a full day in 2017, we realized that none of our HVAC was running. So the heating, the cooling, the glycol, the water pumps, all those kinds of things were just sitting there idle, which is not a great thing. So we did work, me and Joe were kind of farm boys. So we thought, take a breaker here, put it here, that was going to be perfect, right? A couple $100, we had her done. As it turns out, that's not the exact right way to do it. So we hired one of the consultants that actually worked on the original building, and he came in and he told us why we can't do that and outlined the next steps that we had to take. They've been great to deal with. Interphase out of Calgary, I'm not sure if anybody remembers dealing with them back when we did it, but anyways, they kind of got us through to the tender process. We put it out to tender, and it came in higher than we thought it would. Not only were we surprised, but Scott at Interface was also a little bit surprised. But some of the things that he didn't realize when he kind of talked to another couple people was just the price of copper and steel have gone up, and the maybe differences in labor rates from Calgary versus Brooks. So just some little things that we maybe missed in our earlier projections, unfortunately. Because this is never fun, telling you what it's going to cost and then coming back to beg for more money. So we still think it's a valuable project. It's just cost us more than we would hope. No, not generally.
Questions? Anne-Marie?
So you're saying it's an oversight. So is that the design committee around the table for all those years that forgot about it? Is it the architect that forgot about it? Like, is there some recourse for this money?
Not that I'm aware of. From what I remember about when we built this building, the architect and the engineers drew up the drawings, and then the committee went through and we signed all the drawings, stating that yes, we agree with what's in those drawings. So what we probably missed through that process was those intricacies that you get missed on a 400-page document. I think it was your fault, actually, Anne-Marie.
Because HVAC systems are right up here. Yeah. It's just really unfortunate because that's not something that the average person expects to have to find.
No, and in fact, we always thought it just maybe out of sheer ignorance, we thought that room would entirely be on emergency backup because it's one of the most important rooms in the building. I mean, we need our EOC to be running, so fine, we have power plugs, but everybody's under a blanket and in their winter jacket and the pipes are frozen. I mean, that don't make much sense, does it?
No.
So
Crazy. Brian?
So if this had been incorporated in the initial design, how much, like, would we still be paying, additional money, I would think, just to what scale? Like, if you could do it, and I know that's a difficult question for you to ask, because when you got bare walls and running wires and running another wire sample, it seems simple to me, but ultimately there would be an additional cost to having this, even if we could turn the clock back to the time where we were putting that stuff in. So I'm just curious about that number. And then I just wanted to say, if you were true farmer boys, you'd just run a welding cable from one to the other across the floor and just plug it in, right?
We had it ready to go. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think you're right. We would have incurred some expense, but it wouldn't have been the expense of running new conduit. It wouldn't have been the expense of having a whole bunch of extra wires. The expense would have been in upsizing the transformer and the transfer switch, which is kind of where a bunch of the expense comes from what we have to go through right now. The labor side of things, because we have to run conduit and wire from our generator into the shop, up the walls, into this attic space or ceiling space, and then into that utility room. So there's quite a bit of monkeying around to do that, where I think you're right. It would have been much easier to do without everything being complete and having to go around all the other HVAC systems and wires and that kind of jazz. So it's kind of a crappy way to explain it, but I don't know that it would have been half of this amount. I don't know if it would have been 10% of the amount, unfortunately. I don't know that.
Lionel?
Well, I understand entirely how this happens. We ask companies to give us quotes to build projects, and they always have to try to keep them as low as possible. And things like this do get left out because they're not totally necessary for the building. And we have the same thing in our own projects, and we wind up with these problems. And it's just a fact of life. Simple as that. So I'm not blaming you.
Clarence?
It's doesn't do any good to put blame on it, even though Anne Marie is going to buy beer for the next week. Anyway, this has to be done. This is too big a risk. So I'll make the motion and for that we accept the lowest bidder and take it from there.
Thanks, Clarence. Any further discussion? Brian?
Curious, all these companies have a local presence. I know M-Phase is, and I recognize Tarpon, Cascade too. Awesome, great.
Trace?
I probably already know the answer, but I just wanted to ask. This project, is it something that could be done in 2 phases, or it pretty much has to do... Like, I guess the end result is you got to get it done to get what we need, right? So it's not something that we could...
I'm going to go with no.
Question. The people who are initial in these blueprints and everything, if we deduct the wages, how long would it take to pay for this?
I'll be retired.
Motion is carried. Thank you. Anything else to torment Joe or Todd about? Just a question. You said big tent paleontology or something down at...
Yeah, archaeologists. I would hate to misquote all the great things that this man has done, because he sent me a couple of his reports, and I could share those with you. They're fantastic. But they take a canoeing trip. They're starting somewhere around Emerson and going to Jenner, and they look for dinosaur bones and those kinds of jazz. Yeah. But they're doing it in May, so I believe they use the river for transportation, and then they actually explore off the river. Yeah, the water's a little high in May, and cold too. I don't understand that, but
right, that moves us on to the end to the meeting, I think. Community events. I think we've hit it all. Ariana, you support that idea? Good. Thank you. Well, I'll adjourn at 2:45.